let it shine.
What is up, Netflix fans, and welcome back to my channel. I just watched Come Sunday. So Come Sunday is directed by Joshua Marston and stars Chiwetel Ejiofor in the lead role. You guys know how these work. I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. Let's start off with the good. Okay, first off, here's what we're doing. This is a religious movie, so I have to separate my beliefs with what I saw on screen. And while there are a lot of things in this movie that I don't necessarily agree with, that doesn't make it a bad film. I have to judge it for what it is. Now, if it gets a little too preachy, not in the religious way, but the way that it slaps the audience over the head with certain points, then yes, I can judge it for that. But if I don't agree with what's going on screen, that does not make the movie bad. Now let's get into the good. And you know what? This movie is not bad. It's very well acted. It's shot well. I thought the cinematography was gorgeous at times. There were some really good shots in there, and for a Netflix movie, this thing looks better than most. And the acting, Chiwetel Ejiofor brings every single thing that he has in this role, as he always does, but I just think every now and then we kind of look past his performances and say, oh yeah, he's good as always. No, we have to sit down and look at and appreciate how great he is, and in a role like this, for a movie that's going straight to Netflix, the guy absolutely gives everything he has. Let's talk about Lakeith Stanfield for just a second. I love this guy. Every time he pops up in a film, and he's not had a lead role yet, but he will. There's a movie coming out later this year where he is the lead in. I'm very excited for that, but he was good as always in this role. He doesn't have a lot to do. It's a very minor character, but he destroys it every time he's on screen. Then you got people like Martin Sheen and Danny Glover popping up. I'm like, what? Look at all the talent. And every time I saw somebody, I'm like, they're giving a good performance. Story drags at times. It's a little slow. There's some scenes in there that I think should have been cut down a little bit. But overall, I was interested to see where this was going to go. I knew nothing about this. I don't know how I missed it. But you really feel for this guy and his convictions. Whether you agree with it or not, it's something that you can feel the emotion coming from Chiwetel Ejiofor off screen. And I think that's great. It was beautifully handled by him. Now, looks and technical wise, I think this was a beautifully directed movie. I had some issues with the way that he set up certain situations, and his pacing felt a little off, but I feel like if he gets a hold of a really good script one of these days, he's going to bring us a great movie. Now, like I said, there's some problems in here. I'll give you an example, okay? There are situations in movies when you can see what's going to happen next, and I saw that multiple times in this movie. For example, there's a scene when him and his wife go into a grocery store, and it's kind of taking a little while to get set up. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, if they do the cliched, oh, somebody sees you in the grocery store, they try to ignore you, and then you guys end up talking to each other, that awkward conversation. We've seen it a billion times in movies, and I was hoping they would stray away from things like that. But of course, they're in a grocery store and they end up seeing somebody who's completely against Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, and you get that awkward conversation. I saw it coming from a mile away. And while that's the example I'm going to leave you with, it's something that happened over and over in the film, and every time it happened, I'd be like, we're doing this again, the whole cliche thing. I wish they would have strayed more away from that. First of all, like I said, I'm so excited to see Lakeith Stanfield, and sorry to bother you, but I think his character kind of went in and out a little bit too much in this film. I would have liked to have seen more of him. I know it's based apparently on a true-ish story, but he would just go away for a while and then pop back up. I wanted them to be more consistent with characters, and then every now and then they would bring up somebody's name, and I'd be like, okay, who is that character again? Because the side characters, while they were acted really well, they weren't as memorable as I wanted them to be. And my biggest problem with Come Sunday is this. The actors are acting their absolute hearts out. Some of the best performances I've seen all year, but the script and the way that the story goes just doesn't measure up to what they're bringing. I think they were bringing a little bit more to this movie than what was written down on paper, and that's great for their sake because they made the movie worth watching. I just don't think the actual film, the script, and the storyline measured up to what they were doing. And the character himself keeps going back and forth. Does he believe? Does he not believe this and that? And at the end, you get kind of exactly what you expected. And once again, it's not like they could have done anything different. I just wish they would have handled it a little bit better and maybe sped up the pacing. But overall, I liked this film. I think the performances absolutely held it together, and I do think it is worth a watch on Netflix. I am going to give Come Sunday a 62%. Chiwetel Ejiofor is absolutely incredible. Every time he is on screen, I just can't handle the amount of greatness he gives us, but this is another very solid performance that I don't think the movie necessarily measures up to, but it's still worth a watch, and I think if you believe in a message like this, you're going to get a lot out of it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Later on today, I'm going going and checking out Rampage, actually here in just a second, as soon as I get this video edited. And last night I reviewed Isle of Dogs. If you will do me a favor and check out MovieBabbleReviews.com, it is an absolutely incredible website with so many movie reviews and articles, and every now and then if you go on there, you will see one of my reviews pop up. I really appreciate everything they're doing for me, and I'm trying to give them a shout out because it's definitely a website worth checking out. You guys are the absolute best, and I will catch you later.